Today we're going to be taking a look at the LokLik iEngrave, a 10-watt diode laser with engraving speeds of 500 millimeters per second and a work area of 410 by 400 millimeters. Now the company is trying to position this product as a higher quality diode laser with an affordable price tag and barrier to entry. Our first clue to the quality of any machine is always found in the product's design for its packaging and shipping. This is almost always a strong indicator of if a company is willing to cut corners or not, or they want their product to stand out. For this category, we can safely say that the packaging was not only well thought out, but also well designed. Unfortunately, during the process of unboxing, my B-roll camera decided that it was finally time to give up. The red indicator that you just saw means two things. It means, unfortunately, I don't have the footage to show you unboxing of the laser, and it also means that I'm down $2,000. If unboxing is important to you, then don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'll make sure to include a link to Rise and Grind Workshop where he's done an excellent unboxing of the LokLik iEngrave. But for now, let's go ahead and move on to the assembly. This is one place where I immediately have to dock a point for the product, as the company doesn't include any paper manuals or anything like that. I understand that companies include QR manuals and things to shift you over to a website. But when I have a product all over the table and screws everywhere, the last thing I want to be doing is holding up a phone and scrolling through a small PDF. Paper manuals are the way to go, and it's only frustrating the user more with nothing to reference when they're trying to assemble a new product. The saving grace to the assembly is the fact that the company individually packaged and labeled every single item for this product. This includes labeling for each individual screw type, standoff, the legs, and the panels themselves. If I had to grade the assembly, I would give it high marks, especially at my skill level. But for somebody who's not as familiar or comfortable assembling something like this, then the experience might not be as enjoyable. For the most part, if you've ever assembled anything from IKEA, then you'll have no problem with this product. There are two versions of this product. There is the fully enclosed with the safety panels, and there is the open frame. The version that we're looking at today is the fully enclosed version with the safety panels. Once you've assembled the laser and positioned it where it's going to be, the next topic to address is connectivity. And for the iEngrave, we have two options. We have the standard USB Type B connectivity that most lasers use, and then we have a Wi-Fi connection option. Before we get too far into it, let's take a second to talk about today's sponsor, PCBWay. Whether you're a designer or a creator or just need help with the project that you're working on, today's sponsor, PCBWay, has you covered. With a wide range of professional grade services, PCBWay is the leading choice when it comes to on-demand manufacturing. The ability to design parts and products for your projects and then upload them directly to the site makes things easier than ever. With options such as CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, and even 3D printing. And their 3D printing doesn't just stop at plastics. They offer high-grade engineered materials such as aluminum and other specialized metals. So if you have something you're working on and need help with on-demand manufacturing, make sure to check out today's sponsor, PCBWay, at PCBWay.com. LokLik has a mobile app for both Android and iOS that you would use if you choose to use the Wi-Fi connectivity. There are some cool features and options in this application, but it's mostly geared towards people who are newer to laser engraving and not yet comfortable with more advanced options like Lightburn or Laser GRBL. While I'm a huge fan of feature additions and more options for users, we're not really interested in the mobile app today, as we're mainly interested in how this integrates with Lightburn. Now, if you've been around laser engraving for a while, you would know that most laser engravers come with a USB or an SD card that includes a Lightburn device file. If you're newer to the space, a Lightburn device file is used for importing all the settings required to use your laser with Lightburn. A little bit of a spoiler here, we haven't really experienced anything that we don't like with the LokLik iEngrave. It's quite the opposite, but this is where we experience the first big speed bump for the engraver. Like a lot of laser engravers, this product includes an SD card, but just in case you don't have a card reader in your computer, they also include a USB adapter just to get you going. However, when we attempted to use this adapter in our studio machine right here, we had an issue where we were showing no drive and no files. Now, I'm fairly familiar with drive failures and just technology quirks in general. After I realized there was an issue with the adapter, I immediately reached down to pull it out of the computer. Fortunately, with bad news also comes good news. I was able to take the SD card, drop it into my laptop, and pull off the device files that I needed to import the laser into Lightburn. At which point, everything began to work beautifully. And just remember that this isn't a point against the LokLik iEngrave. You see, the company isn't making these SD card adapters, they're sourcing them, the same way that you, the consumer, would be sourcing the laser. So out of every 1,000 or 100,000, there's going to be one that's bound to have problems. Because this is a studio and not a workshop, we don't have a lot of material stock to use around here. So I simply grabbed some 5mm plywood and threw it in the engraver. Since we're not dealing with a lot of material stock, we want to do two things. Mainly, we want to test it for the quality, but we also want to test it for capability. We're going to do this with a simple engraving test and then afterwards do a cut test. For the engraving test, I loaded up a project file that I had previously from a request that somebody had made. Without any calibration or adjustments, we can see that the quality that we're getting is nothing less than good. Something we can safely say only gets better once we take the time to really dial in our settings. Next up is our cut test. Something we could see is passing with flying colors, even without taking the time to really dial in and adjust our settings. As far as quality and capabilities go, the science here is something that's become fairly standardized, so it's increasingly harder to mess this part of a product up. The real selling point of a laser engraver nowadays is more so found in fit and finish and its feature set. So let's take a look at that and see exactly how it stacks up. Now, we already know that this is a 10-watt diode laser with a speed of 500 millimeters per second and a work area of 410 by 400 millimeters. But what we don't know is what exactly is the fit and finish and feature set. One really cool addition to the LokLik iEngrave would be the dropout bed underneath the frame. That's the reason why they include these legs right here. I've only put on one set of them and we can stack them even taller so we have easier access to drop out the bed and remove any scraps or debris from our engraving. Towards the front of the machine, we can see that we have our Wi-Fi, our USB, our standard use things like our power switch, our safety key, and our e-stop. And this is one thing that kind of bothers me a little bit, and you see it's more of a personal preference thing. I don't like the connectivity for my machines to be front-facing, but I understand why the company does it. Nowadays, we're seeing less and less of the workshop computer sitting off in the corner behind a bunch of tools, and more of tablets and laptops that can plug directly into devices. For this reason, it makes sense that the company decided to put the connectivity options towards the front of the unit, as you can drop your tablet onto your work surface and then plug into the front. Personally, I still prefer it to be towards the back of the unit, as I don't like the idea that somebody could walk past or move something and then break or damage a port. However, one thing I can't justify is the location of the DC barrel jack. You see, they've decided to put the DC barrel jack directly on the side of the corner here for the unit. And this is something that I simply can't justify or spin in a positive direction. You see, this is the main compute center for the laser engraver. The reason the barrel jack is on this right side front corner is simply the fact that they don't want to route a cable towards the back of the unit. They'd prefer to keep everything up here. It's a matter of convenience versus better design decision. Specifically for the enclosed version, I absolutely love the safety glass and the way the hinge is designed. I've used other lasers in the past where I've seen some incredibly lazy design work, and thankfully I can say that this isn't one of those lasers. For a lot of open frame laser engravers, the addition of an enclosure is more of an afterthought, and I really like that for the LokLik iEngrave, that's simply not the case. I also like the fact that the LED is incredibly bright, as you can see from the footage here. This product has a lot going for it, and unfortunately they could have made it a lot better with one slight dollar adjustment to their bill of materials. To my contacts, because I know you're watching, I would like to say that I'm incredibly disappointed at the lack of a camera for this enclosure. This part would have cost you less than $1 at bulk, and it would have been an excellent feature and selling point for the engraver itself. The addition of a camera for the enclosure won't take up any extra space in the product packaging, and I would really love to see this listing updated with an included camera. Moving inside the unit, we can see that one excellent feature that's been added to the LokLik iEngrave is the ability to adjust the focus by a simple drop-down lever. This is something incredibly small, but a lot of companies don't do this. Rather, they include a tool or a piece of plastic that's easily discarded or lost for the machine. Now, I don't have one attached because the sample didn't come with one, but if you look at the laser head itself, you see that we also have the ability to attach an air assist. If you know laser engraving, you know that this is a big win. If you don't know laser engraving, just know that this is a huge win. And lastly, inside the unit, we can see that everything is tucked away neatly and there are no big bulky parts or cables or wires sticking out causing a mess, other than the single umbilical going to the laser head itself. Overall, the fit and finish of this machine is quite excellent, often meeting or exceeding what we're seeing from more expensive options. If you ask me today, should you buy the LokLik iEngrave, I would say ultimately that's up to you. But if you're asking, do I like what I'm seeing here, then the answer is yes. I think this machine is a well-built and well-designed machine that is not only met with great quality, but also an affordable price point. If you're interested in checking out this product, I'll have the links in the description. I'll also have a code where you can save 20% off. Keep in mind, this code is not an affiliate link and I don't earn any commission off of this product. If you are interested and have any questions that for some reason I didn't cover, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you as best time allows. To my contacts at HTVRONT, I want to say that I've enjoyed working with the LokLik iEngrave, but I highly recommend that you look into sourcing and update the listing to include a camera with the enclosure.